Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Hello, it's lovely Monday. Can you see the construction going on behind me? Embrace it. That's what I say. What are we going to do? So, do you want to see a pretty view? Look at this. There's all the construction, y'all. But look, there's our pretty view. You see the lake? I hope I showed that well. Anyway, we're in the midst of everything right now, and I just wanted to show you what's going on. It's Monday. That's what's up. And cheers to you, Mother Hen. I've got this is my second bottle. It is so hot. I sweat profusely today. It was pretty ugly. So many things going on. Let's get into this whole discussion about what we've got going on, because we really do have quite a few things going on. And as a matter of fact, I just thought it was so important that because today is our first group. Isn't it the first summer one? I think it is. I feel like it is. It is our first summer one, our first summer sprint. We start today. And do not let your perfectionism get in the way and say, oh, but I didn't know and I wanted to do it, and I guess I'll have to wait for the next one. No, just get going tomorrow. You can. All you have to do is go get it, right? It's at savingdinner.com/sprint webinar. And there you can pick up all your stuff, and you can also watch the webinar and get onto it, because it really is, it's cool. It really is a cool thing. Look at all these people who are here today. Jeanette is in the house. I see Carol and Tanya. Hello. Hello, Lynn and Nancy, of course. Sandy's here. Lizzie's here. Lynn's here. Julie, Debbie, Patsy, Doris. What? Isn't it fun to have your friends here? Hi, Kathy. So I'm really excited to talk about priorities today, because when we're trying to do something, especially when it feels new and awkward, having our priorities together makes all the difference in the world. Hello, Debbie from Georgia, neighboring state, close by anyway. Yes, it is life-changing. Ask Tanya. She knows. I mean, she can tell you all about it, man. It just changed everything. We do have a full house of friends. You're right, Patsy. It makes me happy to see all of you, by the way. So thanks for dealing. Right behind me, we have, of course, we have all the things everywhere, and stuff's coming down off the walls, and it's just happening, girls. It's happening. I'm excited. It's going to be really neat when it's all done. Right now, though, it's in that awkward time. So I'm just kind of dealing with it. What can I tell you? A couple of things. One thing that I've got to share with you is one of my favorite supplements. Martha, hello. Carb Cutter. You've heard me talk about it before. This is white kidney bean extract, which has been known and scientifically proven to cut the absorption of carbs. So if you have an issue and you have let's just put it to you this way. If you're ever in the position where you're saying, ooh, I'd really like to try that, or ooh, I'm trying to keep the carbs low because they just don't agree with me. This is the thing. I should call it cheater. That's what I should have called this the big cheat, because this will save you. I carry this in my purse. We carry it in the car. We have it on the countertop. If there's ever a time to have carbs, I pop this out. Now, we say on the label, it's 2 capsules. The scientific evidence, however, says 3. Sorry, but I have to go with, whatever. Buy one, get one. We have a ton of it right now. We're going to move it out. So jump on this deal. That's exactly right. Jump on the deal. It's a buy one. It's a get one for free. And here's the other thing. When you get 2, you've got one on your countertop, You got one in your car or whatever it is, because, sometimes situations happen and you're saying, you know what? I'm going to have a baked potato with that steak. Fine. Take your carb cutter. Watch. It'll show up the next day. It won't show up the next day on your scale. And you won't get bloated. And it's incredible. White kidney bean extract is what this is. And just the way that we do it and the way that it's processed and all of that is going to be your best friend. Do you love that? I knew you would. So we have that going on. The other thing that you need to know about is Crave Water. Of course, L-glutamine helps with the sore muscles, helps with all kinds of things, including your gut health. And it cuts the cravings like that quickly. You can find out all about it and you'll see a little picture. You'll see a little video of me showing you how to make it. It's at savingdinner.com/crave water. And don't forget that we have free shipping. If you order $300 worth of stuff from us, the lower 48, you are going to get free shipping from us as our way of saying thank you to you. And have you seen our Etsy shop? Have you? Well, get on it. It's at savingdinner.com/Etsy. All the cute full bloom swag. Come on. You know you want that. So those are I think that's the main highlights of what we have going on. We're here to support you. That's the biggest thing. Yes, ma'am, Julie. L-glutamine helps with any kind of craving. Let me explain a craving for you. Cravings are happening in one particular part of the brain. So whatever it is that you're craving and jonesing for and want, the L-glutamine is going to go to work on it because it goes to work on the brain and the brain works on the craving. Does that make sense? So it just makes all the difference. And I will tell you, this is so refreshing and tasty. I've been doing about 2 bottles of it a day simply because of my muscle soreness. I've been on a new program. It just makes all the difference in the world. Golly. And it tastes just like lemonade. I love that stuff. All righty. Is there anything else? Pinky's up, Alice. It's good to see you, by the way. It's good. And it's good to have you here, Julie. I'm glad to see you. What else can I tell you about? I think we've told you everything. Oh, there's your quote of the week. I forgot. I think this is such an interesting quote of the week. We don't set these up in advance. We just put a big blob of them in there and Jenny just rotates things through. And for this sprint week, this is like the perfect quote. And especially when you consider what it is that we're doing right now, you know exactly what we're doing right now. The sprint. This is absolutely on point. You'll never change your life until you change something you do daily. The secret of your success is found in your routine. This is Darren Hardy who said that. He wrote a great book. Gosh, I can't even remember the name of it, but I read it. It was a great book. And it was just about compounding your what you do daily. But it compounded, I think, was in it. I don't know. Good book. Once upon a time, he was the editor of Success Magazine. I've met him. He's incredible, wonderful speaker. But here's the thing that you need to know. Without having your priorities ironclad, everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket. Have you noticed that? And it's not because we have such weakness or whatever, or we're spineless or any of that. It's that we haven't said, this is my priority. And we just allow whatever comes our way to get in our way. And so today I want to talk about really being firm and really being clear on what your priorities are, because your priorities are the thing that are going to move the needle, however you want that needle to move. And let me just be super clear about this. Your priorities, again, are only going to be what shows up in your life, not what comes out of your mouth. And so the alignment is really important. So if you say my priority is X, Y, and Z, and you're not doing it yourself, then you're just talking. I want you to also be walking, because when we talk and when our talk and our walk line up, that's when we have the perfect alignment assignment in our lives. That's when we're dialed in. That's when we get momentum on our side. That's when we feel really good about what it is that we're doing. That's when we start to see the success, the momentum builds, the motivation is there, and it just all dials in. Click, 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 click. Isn't that a great idea? So let's talk about this then, because prioritizing is what this is all about. It's foundational to being able to move your goals along. So, what do we need to do? We have to start quickly. First of all, what do we have to do so that we can get our priorities established and going? We have to set goals. We bring the goals in. The goals are the thing. The goals drive the priorities. Because if they don't, then then you're not going to get anything done. It's just going to look like a bunch of, fancy handwriting on a paper. We don't want that. You have to understand what it is that you want to achieve in the short term and what it is that you want to achieve in the long term. And again, you have to align your daily tasks. You have to align your daily actions with what it is that you want to do. It's simple, right? It's easy to understand that. Nobody is saying, well, you're all saying, duh. But the problem is that we allow all these other things to get in the way of what our priorities are. And when that happens, we're spending our energy on the wrong things. And that's where it is. To me, that's kind of like, that's where the rubber meets the road, because we only have so much energy. And when we're aligned with our energetic actions and steps that we're doing in order to achieve these things, and we're going along, there's magic. There is absolute magic. And one thing that I want to throw out, though, the one little caveat, shall we say, about your priorities are that be able to assess and say, is this still a priority for me in my life? Because our priorities change as our lives change. My goal in 2001, when I established saving dinner, it's still a goal, but it's a secondary goal, was to bring families back to the dinner table, one healthy meal at a time. That was my mission. Well, I had children at home, and I was doing the very same thing. And I wanted to make sure that other people understood that this is something that we can do. And this menu planning is the way to do it. And here's your menus and your recipes and your shopping lists and bop, 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 bop. And we did a tremendous business way back then. We were like the only ones and the first ones and all of that. Well, now, all these years, 22 years later, guess what? It's different. You know why it's different? It's different because my children are grown. They're 33 and 31. And because they're grown and out of the house, it doesn't mean that I have stopped, my heart has changed toward these families, but I'm also seeing a huge gaping need for women who are my age group to see the fact that they are still vital. They still need to be seen. They still have a voice, and their lives matter just as much as they did when they were raising little children. Just as much. And here we are, that job behind us. It's time for our next chapter. What are our goals going to be looking like? Well, let's take a look at some of the things that we can do. And I want you to think about this too, in the fact that assess, analyze, and take a look-see at what your goals are about, and just see, are they really resonating with you, number one? And number two, do I have them written in such a way that it's going to support the actual vibrant life that I want to live? Those are good questions to ask. So what I look at is, the first thing when I'm trying to get things down and worked through, I always look at the fact that my schedule might change just a little bit. You know why? Because I need to work within my productivity, and so do you. When's your most productive time? Don't waste that productive time on other stuff. Put your productivity, your most productive time into place with the action and tasks that you need to do in order to get your priorities done. Because without that, you're spending a lot of time and a lot of energy on things that don't equal that. You see what I'm saying on that? I don't know if I'm saying that very well at all, but When you're most productive, that's when you schedule your priorities. That's when you get those tasks going. You don't have to do it the way everybody else is doing it. You have to do it according to your own energy. Remember what I said a long time ago. This is always going to have to be about you customizing this plan to fit you. Because if you don't do that, you're living somebody else's life. And you're trying to constantly squeeze your square peg into a round hole. And it just doesn't work like that because we're more than, just one thing. We're more than the size of our jeans or the color of our lipstick. We are much more than that. We are heart, mind, body, and soul. And when we embrace the wholeness of who we are, then we can start making these assessments. So Julie says she's more productive in the evenings. But if Julie were to say, oh, no, don't do the hardest thing first thing in the morning, because you're more productive in the evenings. If she did it based on what she thought, it's not helpful. Because then when other people are saying, oh my gosh, I got to figure this all out because I thought I was more productive. But Julie says, that's why I'm saying to you, I'm not going to tell you when to do this, but I am going to put the onus, the burden of figuring out your most productive times, because that is the thing that's really going to make a difference. That's where we start. We have to. Number 2 is we have to time block. How many times have we talked about that? We have a free time blocking sheet, by the way. You can find it at savingdinner.com/time. Let me tell you about our time blocking sheet. It gives you an opportunity to have a full picture of what your day looks like. Because oftentimes we don't see when we're wasting time. We have a kind of a blurry vision of how it is that we're doing our days. We don't recognize that we've just spent an hour on Facebook, or we don't see that we're just sitting there with the clicker on the TV going, through hours and hours and hours of sitting on our cans in front of the couch, in front of the TV on the couch, right? Couch stuff doesn't work. I don't know of anybody who has high success in their life that spends a ton of time on the couch doing stuff like that. It's fine every once in a while, to do it, but day after day, night after night, 4 hours at a time. Think about where can you redeem your time? Take a look at those evenings. 4 times 7 is 28. That's 28 hours of time spent sitting on the couch. We start to think in those terms, that's when we start going, And by the way, the name of that book, that I was talking about, Darren Hardy, is called The Compound Effect. And the brilliance of his whole idea is that just like compounded interest, what you do will compound over time. And that's why your daily efforts are so important. And that's exactly why we're talking about this stuff. The other thing that you can do, by the way, number 3, is to use technology on your behalf. There's all kinds of apps out there. There's, you know what? And I don't do any of them, but for some people, they're just golden. I, however, take my phone and I use my timers all the time, because the timer on my phone it'll ring and it'll remind me to go drink my water. It'll ring and it'll remind me to go do something. I have reminders put on my phone as well, not just alarms, but reminders to remind myself to go do something. When we do this, we're keeping ourselves, it's a mindfulness thing. It's like a check box, a check mark, right? It really helps a ton. Catherine, I'm glad you're here. I'll take you any way you come. I'm glad you're here. Number 4 is to visualize your goals. I am big on the vision boards. We call them vibrant vision boards, because when we have, in order to accomplish anything, we have to have an idea in our head first. And if we can visualize it, and especially if we can put some emotion behind it, we can start seeing our way to how getting it done. We never have to spend a lot of time on, but I don't know how, I don't know, and hand wringing and all of that. Instead, what we need to spend our time on is thinking about what this goal is and activating our reticular activating system and saying, you know what? I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Not sure how this whole thing's going to play out, but here's what I know. I'm going to be successful with the sprint this week. I'm going to get all the menu planning stuff done. I'm going to read that thing and know it inside and out. And I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep getting it done. I'm going to stay the course. you will start to feel so incredibly good about yourself. You'll start to visualize your outcome. You'll start to have a little emotion behind it. And then the next thing you know is you just do it. You just do it. That's your priority. You have owned it simply by all of those tasks that you did in order to bring it about. And I know that oftentimes we get hung up on the obstacles. I know there's a lot of times where we just don't see what it is that we need to do. But the fact is, if we have a vision board in front of us, we can be reminded, this is what you said your priorities are. This is the thing that's going to make you feel good. This is the thing that's going to push you toward your goal. And then the other thing is we have to be mindful, of course, but we have to be mindful about our decision making. You have to decide, is Netflix more important than maybe working on this side hustle that I have? Is Netflix more important than X, Y, and Z? Or starting my scrapbook, or whatever the thing is that you have put a goal onto and you're saying, I don't have time for, and then you realize you do because you're looking at your time blocking sheet, then you start talking about these things and the priorities start to be rinsed out, shall we say. Yeah, do a vision board, Julie. It'll make all the difference in the world. I promise. And the next thing is number 6, and we do this all the time. And we have I don't know if you've seen our Take Back Your Life journals. These are gold because it helps you to look at it, to put your wins in there. It helps you to see exactly how you're following through and making it happen. You get to see this. You get to go back and review your progress. You get to see the wins that you made for the week. You get to see that you are moving the needle. You are doing the things, and you make adjustments. We call them course corrections because everybody needs a course correction every once in a while. You will not do this perfectly, by the way, but you can do it excellently simply by staying the course. And if you get a little rocked off or something happens or whatever, you don't let that take you down. You just say, okay, reset, let's go. You know, in pickleball, the reset is a big thing and it's a big deal to learn because there are times where you're all up at the non-volley zone. Those of you who play pickleball, you know, you're up at the non-volley zone and it's like, bap, 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 bap. That ball's going back and forth, and it's getting brutal. And then you have to figure out a reset so you can take a breath. Your adrenaline's pumped, right, and going crazy. So you can take a breath and you can do something. So I have this thing called a bailout dink where I just put it right over the thing. Half the time they can't even get it. But it saves my bacon every time. Reset. We all need a reset. The other thing is practicing mindfulness because we get distracted. Anyone? Pinkies up if you get distracted. And by the way, yeah, you can get your journals. We still have a few left, very few, at savingdinner.com/journal. This is really great. Sets your goals up for 12 weeks, and it takes you all the way through and helps you set up your day. It's pretty proud of it. I highly endorse it. And plus, it's beautiful. Amber did, of course, she did all her magic in there and all things. I just love it. Just saying. But your mindfulness creates presence. When you're present, then you can put your mind on it. When you're, here's the thing. If we're living in the past, we're fretting about the future, we don't have any energy for today and what it is that we're doing. Our priorities go to hell in a handbasket. And we don't feel good about ourselves. And we're just saying, where did the gate go? I don't understand this, blah, 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 blah. We've got the tools to understand it. We do. Use the tools. Use your mind. Use the Hot Milk Sprint Facebook group and be accountable. We can shift directions at any time. Our focus, though, is the thing that's going to grab the energy. And if our focus has nothing to do with our priorities, then at the end of the day, we're going to be awfully frustrated, aren't we? You know it. I know exactly what this is. So, but I have something for you too, that I do this sometimes when I'm meditating first thing in the morning, And I also do this if I'm staying on task with something that I'm trying to do. And it's my distraction list. And it's really easy. All you have to do is have a piece of paper and a pencil, pen, or whatever in front of you. And you're saying, okay, I'm gonna be focused on this one thing. This is the thing that I'm gonna do. Well, then something you're saying, your mind says, really? We're gonna focus on this one thing? But I have 1,000 things I want you to think about. Well, as they come into your head, write it down. Write it down, write it down, write it down, and then schedule it. That's how we deal with these distractions. Instead of saying, oh, but then I'm going to do this over here, and well, I'm going to do this over here, and running around like a chicken with your head cut off and getting zero done, the distraction list will save your bacon big time from doing that. I love a distraction list because I'm so distracted. I'm not going to lie. It just happens. There's another thing that you can do, and this is a little bit unusual, and I do this. Jenny knows this. I do this. It just doesn't. It just makes such a difference. Okay, and that is to have like a theme day. So, for example, on Tuesdays are my writing days. Tuesdays are blocked. If you try to book an appointment with me, you won't be able to. It's my writing day. It's my creative day. It's shoot video day. It's take pictures day. It's anything creative is Tuesday. I put my Tuesday as a creative day and I love it. I don't have anything scheduled except getting something along those lines done. And usually what I do is I fill up my Slack. I fill up my Slack with all kinds of things. Hey guys, I've been thinking about this. Hey, what do you think of that? Let's do this. Let's do that. And Jenny and Amber are going, oh, here she goes again. But this is how webinars are born. This is how our books and our journals come about. I need that room, and when I started to recognize that and started to realize it is okay to block time off for that kind of creative flow, it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference. And it gives me that margin that I need in my life to just not be constantly like a machine, right? We want this. We all want this. So if you have the ability to theme out your days, try it. See what you think. Yeah, it's not too bad, Carol. The wind's not too bad. A little bit. The other thing is do a 2-minute rule. Of course, Fly Lady, you're talking about Fly Lady, Julie. She has her 15-minute thing for the routine or whatever, but I'm talking about a 2-minute rule to just be focused on one thing. One thing. Do it immediately. Say, you know what? I'm just going to take 2 minutes. Like I'm going to take this one thing off my distraction list. I'm going to take 2 minutes and bump it out. I do this all the time. Like I'll say, I've got something, I'm heating something up or whatever, and that's going to probably take about 5 minutes. And I think, well, I've got 5 minutes. I'm going to run downstairs. I'm going to grab a basket of laundry and I'm going to take it out into the dining room and start folding it for a couple of minutes until I know something's done. And there you go, 2 minutes out the door. So when we have to remember something though. One thing I really want to emphasize here as we talk about priorities this week is that it is a skill set. It is a skill to be able to say, this is a priority and this is not. But so is sorting laundry. Black socks don't go with white towels, do they? We learn that after we wash the black socks and get them all covered with white lint. We learn. It's like sorting laundry. So what I would leave you with today is this. When you know what your focus is, then you know what your priorities are. It'll show up. And if you don't like what is showing up with your focus, shift it and create that place where your priorities become sacrosanct. Your priorities are the thing that are going to move the needle, that are going to get your goals accomplished, that are going to make you feel like you have got this thing licked. You will not do it perfectly. But I promise you, if you give it all you've got, you will do it excellently. Amen to that. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Tomorrow, we're going to keep pushing it on these priorities. We got to get this thing down. It's going to make a big, big difference, especially when you're trying to make something happen in your life. Now, don't forget we have limited supply on the carb cutter. You want it? Buy one, get one. Find that at savingdinner.com/show. And don't forget, all of our supplements, everything that we're talking about today, my goodness, you will find it all on savingdinner.com/announcements. Thank you so much for joining me, Catherine, Tanya, Nancy. I appreciate you all. Lynn, you too. Lizzie, thank you. We will be back tomorrow. There's more where that came from. Peace be with you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.